Yes.
So, back for another episode of the CrossFit Kaiserslautern FITCAST.
Yes, we are.
Hello, Kristen.
Hello, Max.
And today we're pulling back the curtain of our class structure, our concept, why we do what we do and how we do it, right? All of the above.
Yes.
Cool. Today we want to talk about the structure of our classes, basically the lesson plan, the so-called lesson plan, yeah?
The so-called lesson plan.
No? Yeah? And we're going to talk about the programming we use and why we use the programming, what the purpose of it is, what the pros and cons are. There's always pros and cons to everything we do, or everything.
And yeah.
And we want to wrap it up because it fits very well into this topic, into this episode, the process of a new member. Like what motions they would go through, what steps they would take to become a member, and get fit and healthy with us while having fun with it.
Sounds good.
Good. Okay, tell us about our lesson plans. Like, what is the structure of a class? How do we start? Why do we start that way?
Okay, so basically every day we start with a warm-up, right? The warm-ups can seem like they have very repetitive movements in them, but this is purposefully done. Yep. And we keep very similar movements or easy movements to teach, because we want the first thing that people come in and do, they see their friends, they see a buddy, "Hi, you just got back from a trip, what's up?" Or from the closure, the lockdown. Yep. We want those first 5 to 10 minutes to be social time. And we don't want to have to spend a ridiculous amount of time teaching brand new warm-up movements because that's not the purpose. Yeah. The purpose is to get us a little warm, get us breathing a little bit harder, get us prepared, mobilized. And we want you guys to be socializing during this. If we're having to teach you from scratch, that social aspect goes away. So we want you to be able to listen with one ear and chit-chat and catch up with your friends in the other. Yeah. And then after the warm-up, be ready.
General warm-up.
Yeah, general warm-up. Be ready to pay a little bit more attention, hopefully, as we head into our movement-specific warm-up. So things like the snatch warm-up with the barbell, snatch-specific, and then where we're teaching you, okay, today we're doing squats. Let's specifically warm up like slow pausing air squats, wall squats, like these things that prepare each specific movement to make sure that our bodies are ready for it.
That appears in the workout of the day, right?
Yeah, so that's the purpose. The movement specific is to hit the movements that are coming up in our workout so that we know our body's A, capable and ready to move, and B, this is where if we were in a normal gym setting, we would add weight slowly if we had a weighted movement to make sure we're hitting the proper weight or using the proper weight for the workouts to hit the right stimulus that we want.
Or even before that, there's another step, which is coaching.
Teaching the movements.
Teaching the movements, getting the points of performances across. And we also have I don't know if it's special, but we have a certain way of teaching the points of performance. Is it everything together?
Yeah, so each day we try to have one thing to focus on per movement. So take the squat, for example. One day we might be focused on the hips, getting down below parallel, getting the hip crease below the knee, or standing to full extension, opening the hips at the top of the squat. And the next day might be, let's focus on keeping our chest up. So we don't want to throw every point of performance at you every day because that's too much to think about. So we try to, each movement will give you one thing to focus on for that day. That doesn't mean ignore the other things. It just means our main focus is going to be on that one thing for the day.
And we're trying to get better each day with one thing in mind. Like, small steps towards our goal of perfect movement, if that's something we could achieve. I don't know, but we're striving towards ideal movements, and we're not gonna get there by overloading ourselves.
Yes. In
one day. We're gonna get there by doing the steps, getting better small steps every single day.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have the general warm-up where we get warm, socialize, get moving. We have the movement-specific warm-ups that kind of go in with the teaching, because we're teaching you the movements and then specifically warming up those movements. Yeah. And then we add weight if we have weighted movements to slowly build ourselves up. And we're hitting the points of performance during this that we want you to focus on.
And that would bring us, if applicable, to the next piece of a class, which is then the strength or the skill piece of a class.
If we have that piece, which not every day.
Yeah.
But we'll have maybe a 2-part workout where we're focused on strength or technique at the beginning that also prepares us for what we're about to do in the workout.
There would always be the movement that we would do for strength or skill work would always appear, or a similar movement would always appear in the workout, right?
Mm-hmm. To reiterate what we've done, put those good mechanics we just spent time working on to use in a fast-paced workout.
Cool. And then the main part.
The workout.
The workout.
Yes. Yeah. So getting sweaty together, having a good time with your buddies, all doing the same stimulus workout, what it may look different person to person based on what movements we're doing, weights we're using.
Yeah.
But
scales we're using.
Yeah. But same stimulus workout all together. And then if and when time allows, ending it with a cool down if possible, or at least suggesting a cool down if there's not necessarily time to do it together.
Yeah. People can hang out and stretch together. And go for a walk, stuff like that.
When the gym's open,
yes. Yes, of course.
Yes.
We're talking about this in a
I know.
In a general, the gym is open setting, right?
Correct.
Cool. Okay. There's a certain programming we use, and we proudly use. And tell us about that. What is it, and why do we use it?
Yeah, this is actually a question we've gotten in the past. Why CompTrain? Why do we... CompTrain's the program we follow. Yeah. Why CompTrain? And there's a couple of reasons. We're always on the lookout to improve where we can, improve what we can. And CompTrain has been the best program for what we want our gym to be focused on. And that's fitness at its core. Fitness and working on your cardiovascular and strength system, and all of this gets you those healthier, I was going to say health markers, but that doesn't make better health markers.
Yep. Yeah. It's going to make you healthier.
Yes.
It's going to make you fitter and healthier. It's promoting longevity.
Yes.
And that's at the end of the day, that's what we want.
That's the focus for our classes, for the general public. We want people to be fitter and healthier for as long as possible. Yep. And CompTrain workouts do that. They're proven and tested through multiple gyms all over the world.
Yep.
And also the other side of that, another reason we like it a lot, is because it also has a separate individual programming for free.
Yep.
That goes along with the classes.
Yep.
So we don't have the separation between I want to be a competitive athlete or I just want to take classes to be healthier and fitter. Those two categories, while their goals are different, can still do the same class and achieve what they want to achieve. And then the individuals also have a little bit of extra on the side that they can do.
And be one community, one family. They feed off of each other.
Yeah.
That's the main part why we choose CompTrain programming. Everything evolves around the class as the core of the programming of that day.
Yep.
And if you want to do that extra strength piece, if you want to work on, and this can be everything. It can be you want to work on your beach figure,
beach bod.
Yeah. You want to work on your squatting strength. You want to work on those muscle ups. Whatever you want to do, if you want to do it there's a place and there is programming that's going to support it, but it is also in the context of our daily workouts.
Yeah, it's not tied into it.
It's not just I want to do squats today and then tomorrow in the workout there's
there's squats again.
There's squats again. Yeah, that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
So whatever your goal is, just the everyday CrossFitter, everyday getting fitter and healthier, or the little extra, we got you covered.
Yes.
Yeah.
Through both. Yeah.
I think another question we've gotten before is, what about the skill work in the programming?
This is a question we've gotten specifically, at least from my memory, which is a little spotty sometimes. We've gotten the question, like, we have strength pieces sometimes at the beginning, like 2-part workouts starting with strength and then a Metcon. Why don't we ever have specific skill work, like not a strength piece, but like pull-ups, for instance? Let's work on our gymnastics today. And the reason for this is the basis. First of all, our focus is on fitness and health. And if you listen to our last episode, we briefly touched on the higher skill movements don't move your fitness towards healthy.
Yeah.
Like, they don't move those markers towards healthy. So the focus is on fitness first.
Yeah.
And then you have to have the strength, the foundation, right? You don't build a house without a foundation because it'll crumble. So same thing with our fitness. We don't start with high skill before we have the strength.
Yeah.
Which is why we try and tell people strict pull-ups before kipping pull-ups, because kipping is a higher skill. Strict requires the strength and the body control, right? So for CompTrain programming, it's always the fitness first, then the strength and foundation, and then the skill work. And that's why we tie in the little bit of like gymnastics skill work, like our pull-up warm-up has the scap pull-ups and the kip swings, because that starts to build the little muscle memory and the pieces. Exactly. And then we also, this is why we offer the open gym also, is because we want you to take what we have in the classes and then work on those skills with us, with other people who are doing the same thing in the open gym area.
Yeah. And what people often forget is, what are you able to build faster? Strength or endurance or conditioning? Conditioning
and endurance.
Yeah.
Comes faster, but you also lose it faster.
Yes. Strength takes way longer to build.
Yep.
And I totally understand where people are coming from. You get impatient. When you want to get that first pull-up, and you're asking yourself, we're not working on the skill, on the pull-up skills as much. Usually it's a lack of strength, and building strength takes time.
Yeah.
And we do work on those skills almost when the gym is open, almost on a daily basis. And this is also something we touched on in the last episode. We call it aggregation of marginal gains. It's the intent of how you are conducting yourself in the warm-up, in the workout, in the class.
Yes.
Are you approaching the skill work, the specific warm-up with intention? Are you focusing on the movement? Are you actually training your central nervous system to execute the movement well?
Are you hanging from a bar like a dead fish?
Or are you just going through the motion to go through the motion because the coach said so?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah? Cool. We want to touch a little bit on the current programming we're following, and how obviously COVID times.
Yes.
Yeah. Gyms are closed. And how that relates to, why we do it in the lookout of the open.
Yes, so CompTrain goes through cycles of programming, which doesn't really mean much for the everyday class. It's more for the strength accessory work that they add. However, we are currently in a prep trajectory towards the open, so open prep, which means a lot of the movements we are doing and will continue doing up until the open look a little bit repetitive because ComTrain is preparing us for the open, and there are movements that we know have a high probability of showing up in the open every year, and those are the movements that we're going to see more and more of. If you guys haven't noticed, even with the home programming, there's been a lot more push-ups than in the past, a lot more air squats than in the past, and it's because the open this year is going to look different for a lot of people. They're on lockdown at home, little to no equipment, and they're prepping us to be able to do these body weight movements or these versions of movements so that we're prepared for our version of the open that's about to happen.
Which is pretty cool, I think.
Awesome.
Sometimes you don't think about it, sometimes you lose, or you don't have that insight or that perspective of the programming, and then you feel like, oh, it's so repetitive, or we've done dumbbell snatches so many times this past week, but the dumbbell snatch is very likely to show up.
Yes.
So we should be training it right now.
That also goes into intent. If you're thinking these movements are super repetitive and I haven't gotten any better, they don't feel better or easier, and I know we can't necessarily go up in weight right now because we have minimal equipment, but if you had the choice to go up, did you go up in weight? If your answer is no, then are you putting intent behind that movement, or are you just going through the motions? If it's just going through the motions, then start putting effort and intensity into those movements and they will start to feel better.
And just to reiterate, there's nothing bad about just going through the motions.
No.
Doing something is better than doing nothing, but then you shouldn't... What is the goal? What is the focus? You should be aware of your goal and focus, because then it shouldn't frustrate you if there's no progress, or if there's slower progress. Just to be aware of that. Cool. Let's wrap it up with... the process for new members in that system that we just described.
Yes. So the way our new member system works, and this is specifically for people with no previous CrossFit experience that are coming into the gym for the first time. We have them go through our 101 introduction course, which the first half of the 101 is mostly technique, form, information on the fundamental movements of CrossFit. So squats, presses, deadlifts, cleans, and the Olympic lifts, and a little bit of gymnastics and stuff. Well, we get into that. So that's the first half, really preparing them to move well, to know the warm-ups, be familiar with the warm-ups. And
to know their bodies.
Yes, to figure out what they can and can't do, what limitations they may find, and knowing how to modify or scale accordingly. And then the second half of the 101 is designed to prepare them for exactly how the classes run. So our last 4 classes of the 101 are set up exactly how our normal classes are. So they come in, they do a warm-up, a general warm-up, a movement-specific warm-up with teaching and technique, and then we do a workout all together and we cool down after. So they are, and we do this so that they're fully prepared for what a class feels like as soon as they're done.
They know what they're getting into. They feel comfortable going into a class because it's going to be no different than what they just experienced. And
we set those up. We tell people, because we do individual and group versions of the 101, but the group version gives you that CrossFit class feel already, and you start out automatically with a community of people you know that just went through the 101 with you, and they a lot of times end up like, hey, what class time are you going to go to? Oh, I'll sign up. And then you have a friend immediately when you come in, and it's way easier to transition to the classes. And you're prepared. You know that you've been through a class with a group of people, and you know what it's going to be like.
And then your journey starts.
And then you start the classes and you jump right in because you're prepared for it. You know what's up. And then once you start getting more familiar, technique is always the priority, the foundation, how we're moving. We want to be moving well before we add anything on top of that. So the base is they start the classes and really focus on technique. And as they get comfortable and their bodies start, building that muscle memory, they get better or move better or whatever.
More consistent.
Yes, more consistent. Then they can add intensity to it, meaning they go harder. Like they push themselves a little bit harder. Like maybe I can go a little bit faster on this row because my body knows what it's doing now. Or maybe I can run a little bit faster because I know what the other movements are, so I know how to take it.
Or they could add weight.
Yeah, or they can start adding weight. Like I'm going to use a 25-pound dumbbell instead of a 10.
Yeah.
And then once the technique and intensity are there, then we can add volume.
So just to reiterate, technique plus intensity means can you express good movement patterns under fatigue, under intensity, under load?
Yes.
And if that's a yes, you can do many repetitions of that movement without hurting yourself.
Yes. High reps, high volume, more workouts, all of that.
Yeah, more workouts in a week, whatever that may look like. Cool. Awesome. Hope we pulled back the curtain enough.
Yes. Yeah. Also, as always, if you guys have questions, if we didn't explain something or we gave more questions came up as we're talking about things, please leave them in the comments, shoot us an email, also help us out and like and subscribe, follow us, and
see you next time.
Yeah,
cool.
See you for the next one.